From Idaho's News Channel 7, this is Friday Night Football.
Well, this is it. We have reached the final week of the regular season. Welcome on into Friday Night Football. I'm KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. 2 years ago, the SIC thought of this great idea. Cross-divisional games in the 9th week of the season with the top 2 teams from each division playing for the 5A SIC championship. Before we even played a single down this season, it seemed inevitable that Mountain View and Rocky Mountain were going to collide twice this season. Once in the regular season, then again tonight in that 5A SIC title bout.
Yeah, what stands out about them is they've always got great athletes at every spot, and they're always well coached. They just have a great coaching staff. Coach Keelig and his crew, they do a fantastic job.
They're extremely well coached. Coach Bennett really does a really good job. Their O-line, D-line are solid. They're physical, and then they complement it really well. They do a good job at taking advantage of their guys' skill sets. Their backers are short and fast and pretty athletic. Ours are long and fairly athletic. So I think it's going to be a good battle in the trenches between the D lines and O lines and our linebackers. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, we're all looking forward to it. Such great respect, by the way, between these two programs. We have lucked out all season with Mother Nature. Tonight, though, football weather was in the forecast. A packed house over at Mountain View. We pick it up in the second. The Mavs leading 7-6. Rocky started with the ball in the third quarter, but they cough it up. That's Max Miley that falls on it. He's the son of Boise State defensive line coach Frank Miley. Being good at football clearly runs in the family. Going the other way, the Mavs come up empty on offense. That is until fourth down. Dawson Walt throws it up to Dominic Sotomayor, and he's like, go up and get it, buddy. That keeps the drive alive. Down inside the red zone, Brian Compton goes to his bag of tricks and gets a little bit of a treat. Grayson Flatten goes out just inside the 1-yard line. Where are you going to get closer to the action, by the way, than right here on Friday Night Football? Unreal. From there, Nail, I'd like you to meet the hammer. Quintez Evans goes back to work. He was going to work all night. In fact, Mom and Pops, if you're listening, I think that he should be free of all chores for the weekend. That made it 14-6. On the ensuing drive, Rocky experiences a little deja vu, or maybe call it a nightmare. Ian Perkins falls on it, and just in case there was any confusion, Jackson Beck lets everybody know it's Mountain View ball. The Mavs immediately go on the attack. On the first play, Wall dials it up to Flatten, who finally gets flattened right around the 6-yard line. 3 plays later, on 4th and goal at the 1, hey, how about Rocky rising up to get a big stop? All of a sudden, they benefit from one of those game-changing plays. Unfortunately, momentum was just not their friend tonight, and Judd Benedict had all the answers. The Grizz failed to get a first down. They line up the punt, and it just goes poorly. The rush rattles the punter. Another Mountain View score here. This one a safety. That made it 19-6 with about 90 seconds to go in the third. On to the fourth, Rocky Mountain starts to get on a roll. They get back-to-back first downs, but then this happens. Kai Ackley steps in front of a Tegan Sweeney pass and picks it off. That happened just moments after the junior just got onto the field. A really special memory for him. The Mavs will then go back to their bell cow. Evans hits pay dirt for a third time. You know what? The view from this mountain is so good that you can see the 5A SIC championship trophy with the Mavs name on it. They win the night 26-6, the final. Each year as football season comes to a close, we're accustomed to careers coming to a close. Players graduate and move on to bigger and better things. When it comes to coaches, though, turnover can be a little more difficult to accept. For the better part of the last 3 decades, Capital High head football coach Todd Simis has been a fixture in our football community. They say all good things must come to an end. In this case, I personally chose to neglect that it ever would or could. For the last 11 falls, I have thoroughly enjoyed each and every encounter that I've had with Coach Simis. In my heart of hearts, I know that he makes our football community better because he makes our kids better. He offers them an understanding that sacrifice, discipline, and determination can lead to remarkable success. Just look at his football program. Knowing the inevitable would eventually kind of nudge right up to us and awkwardly stand there wishing we could push it away, Simis promised me that when he felt it was time to move on from coaching football, he would let me know. This week, that text that I wanted to neglect finally arrived. I had to read it twice to make sure, and it was clear I could no longer pretend that the inevitable wouldn't happen. After this season, Todd Simmons is stepping down as the head coach at Capitol High School. So with that in mind, every time the Eagles hit the field on Friday night, they aren't just playing to prolong their season, they're playing to prolong their coach's remarkable career. To Donald Larson Park we go. Capitol hosted Timberline this evening, and let's just say Gurkha had plenty of pride in this one. Racing out to a 35-0 lead, we pick it up here with Wade Zenner, finding Anthony Bridges for a nice gain. Zenner would then contribute with a little bit on the ground here. He decides to keep it himself, and he puts the Wolves down into scoring position. Zenner would then finish off the drive with a touchdown pass to Garrett Lavin. Unfortunately, by the time we showed up to this game, Capitol was up 35-0, which means this game was out of hand, and all we have is a few Timberline highlights. Either way, Gurkha Pride marching on, and so is Coach Simmons. They win the night, 42-7, the final. To Meridian High School we go. They were back at home hosting Centennial. The Warriors have lost 3 games this season by a grand total of 5 points. Tonight, they wouldn't have to worry about playing a close game. Already up 7-0 in the first. Carson Gooley and Carson Pinkerman lead a herd of tacklers. This would force a punt. Meridian senior QB Malachi Martinez was in rare form from the get-go, and this is a great sight to see. On the first play of this next possession, he dials one up from 43 yards to fellow senior Davis Thacker. Both of these guys have missed injuries at times this year, but when they are healthy, this team is dangerous. I certainly would not want to face them in the opening round of the playoffs. On to the second quarter we go. Bridger Bivens and the boys up front start to collect rent on the line of scrimmage because they clearly owned it. Cross Antonacci, testing the durability of his jersey here. He finally gets taken down. From there, Marco Del Rio totes the rock across the goal line. Meridian cruises into the playoffs with a 35-0 victory this evening. Let's head on over to Eagle High School. The Mustangs faced off against the Cuna Cavemen. This offense is cooking right now, and it's all due to this guy. Eagle quarterback Jack Benson on play action rolls out, dumps it off to Ian Duarte. Probably would have taken it for 6, but the Cavemen just barely grab his jersey to pull him down. After that, Benson going back to the air. This time he spots Donovan Jones for the first down. The Eagles would finish off a drive with a touchdown on the ground. Deegan Marino totes the rock in there. They'd also tack on the 2-point conversion. Eagle flies high tonight. They win 62-14, the final. You know, the rain didn't dampen the spirit of the Hawaii Storm crowd tonight. Fitting, they're the Storm, right? Some of the kids trying to keep warm, I guess, in their onesies. You could say that Boise braved the storm better, though, taking over the early lead here, getting up on Owyhee. That made it 7-3 in the second. Mason Lawler catching the long pass, taking the hard hit down the goal line. He'd walk off like a champ. That would set up a short TD run from Alex Hess. Mike Altieri, the former Boise State Bronco, thrilled to see what his team was doing tonight. Boise would continue to take charge down near the goal line. The handoff to Jared Fuller. He takes it right up to the goal line, setting up yet another short touchdown run. This made it 21-3. Boise gets their second victory of the season, 28-3 the final over Hawaii. How about some Thursday night football for you? The Bora Lions rolled into last night's game with a 5-game winning streak, hosting Skyview. Here's the thing, the Hawks jumped out to a 28-0 lead. Again, getting close to the action. Bradley Toth scores a touchdown there, but Skyview just had way too many answers. Max Cutforth looking cool, calm in the pocket, hits Mason Cron for the touchdown. Later on, Cutforth again goes back to the air. Tyreek Pennington played like a freaking man last night. Great after the catch, as you can see right here. He scores yet another touchdown. How about this score? Skyview, 41-14 the final. We caught up with their coach tonight.
Coach Dave Young, we appreciate you joining us tonight on Friday Night Football. Man, last night you guys were able to handle one of the hottest teams in the state. Bora comes in on a 5-game winning streak, but you guys were able to control that thing from kickoff. How were you able to quiet the Lions last night?
Well, we respect their game and what they're able to do. Their defense flew around. You know, we had a lot of respect for their running game. But ultimately, it came down to us. You know, we were on a 4-game losing skid, being in the toughest pod in the state of Idaho, having to take on Eagle and Rocky Mountain and Timberline, and losing those 4 games in a row was rough. And so we just had to focus on us. And we wanted to play physical football. We wanted to play good defense and good offense. We didn't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. We'd been doing that quite a bit the last few weeks and limit the penalties on certain drives. And so we just focused on us all week and just we were looking forward. The season was over. The 4-4 was over, and it was all about going 1-0.
You guys certainly checked the boxes then on everything you wanted to accomplish last night. Up 28-0 at halftime, 5 first half turnovers that you guys were able to force. It really did seem like your boys were playing some inspired football last night, though. What was the reason behind that?
Well, I think ultimately, we're a senior-driven team, and I don't think they wanted to be denied. I don't think they wanted their season to be over because we had to win to get in, and if we lost, we were going home. And this senior class is a strong group. They've been together for a while, and I think ultimately they just made up their minds. They were going to play as physical and as tough as possible to get in.
Whether it be Pennington, Fafita, Max Cutforth, who you get back next year is only a junior. All those guys seem to be playing at a pretty high level right now. You mentioned the 4-game losing streak. Given the competition you were facing, how much were you guys able to still kind of learn the standard of what it would take to compete in these mid to late October playoff style games?
Well, that's I think you just kind of, hit it on the head right there. Our first 4 games were great opening games, a couple 4A opponents, a couple of other 5A opponents in Boise and Owyhee. But then when we hit that streak between Rocky to Meridian to Eagle to Timberline, you find out who you really are when you're facing adversity. And we found out a lot of things, and they weren't all pleasant. We had to work through some things. We had to kind of look in the mirror as coaches and as kids. And ultimately, I think that propelled us, so we were prepared to play a new opponent, and especially with a lot on the line. And our kids just ate it up. They were excited.
We've seen so many 4A teams bump up to 5A. That last season in 4A, they try to take everything they can get while they can. Next year, you guys go from 5A back to 4A. But how much do you kind of want to prove what this team can do against the biggest schools, the best competition that the state of Idaho has to offer?
That is definitely a chip on our shoulder, one of our driving forces, being in the 5A level for the last 4 years, including this season, and qualifying for the playoffs 3 out of those 4 years is a big deal. We've got right at about 1,230 students in our school. We have 75 total football players in our football program. We're built closer to some of the 3A schools like Homedale in terms of numbers than we are the Rocky Mountains of the world, and so we don't worry about what's fair, what's equal. You play the cards that are dealt to you. And that's the one thing I just love about my school and about our boys is they're just feisty and nitty gritty and they just want to play. And our kids get to play a ton. Our kids play both sides of the ball and they have a lot of opportunity and they take it.
As you mentioned earlier, win and you're in. You guys controlled your own destiny. You took care of business. So what is next? And I got to say, good on you guys for not having to play in tonight's weather. You got it out of the way last night when it was still relatively one of those fall evenings here in Boise that you can enjoy. So what is next for your group of boys as the playoffs now approach for you?
Well, last night, 70 degrees. I wish I packed my shorts, but I didn't. Looks like we're heading east. We should be the 6th seed coming out of the west. And so we'll head east to play, I think, Highland, but Highland and Idaho Falls play tonight. So if Highland wins, they're the number 2, and we'll go play Highland. If Idaho Falls beats them, there's a 3-way tie. We might have to wait till Monday. I'm not sure if they have a Aussie rules tiebreaker or Kansas City tiebreakers. So I'm getting ready to watch that game on the network here pretty quick and eat a little pizza and hang out with a couple of my coaches and my wife and just enjoy the night.
Coach Young, seriously impressive what you guys have been able to do over there. You mentioned your numbers. They're about half the size of some of the schools that you've been competing against this year. Really impressive that you've been able to make it to the postseason 3 out of the last 4 years playing. Well above, not your punching weight, but at least where you should be, because you guys do provide one heck of a punch. But congrats on your successes this season as well as into the postseason.
Well, thanks a lot. That's one of the beauty things of high school football As long as you have 11 guys on the field, you have a chance. You're going to play the game and you have a chance, and we'll take it every Friday. Thanks for having me.
Man, Coach Young continues to get it done. They are going to be so good when they drop down to the 4A classification next year. Going to be pretty fun to watch. Hey, speaking of the 4A level, Emmett clinched a 4A SIC championship last week. So really, the Huskies just kind of playing for fun tonight, right? It's senior night for Emmett. We start off in the second half with Emmett leading 7-0. Their quarterback, Caden Young, takes the ball himself, breaks a few tackles, picks up a first down, knifing through that Vallivue defense. Great spirit, by the way, from the Vallivue student section traveling for this one. Caden Young tries it again, but this time the Vallivue defense stones him. Can't move it there. Vallivue quarterback Casey Cope then hits Tyson Fox for a big gain. Then the rain would continue to fall. And how about this? After Emmett was able to pull off a number of miraculous last-minute comeback victories this season, they suffer one today. It is Vallivue that gets a late score in the fourth quarter. They win a defensive battle. 8-7 the final. All right, we move along now, and how about this? Ridgeview was in action this evening. A difficult task for them tonight as they were taking on Bishop Kelly. We pick it up here, and that's Bishop Kelly's Alex Bloom with a big hit. After that, an errant snap on the Ridgeview punt. It leads to a little bit of confusion, as well as a Bishop Kelly touchdown. The game was kind of out of hand at this point in time. The Knights really starting to pull away. You could see them celebrating once they get it sorted out. We give you an incredible catch by Jackson Boucher, maybe one of the plays of the night, if not the play of the night. Going up and high pointing that thing, impressive. But again, it's Bishop Kelly that runs away with this contest. 56-13 the final. Give you another look at it. Nice catch by Bausch. All right, we move along now. Middleton hosting Columbia. And after a nice short little rush here, you know, it was just a defensive battle, simply put, in the first quarter. Eventually, we'd find a little bit of offense. Check out that snag for Middleton. But this is what I'm talking about here. Kai McClure over the middle for 43 yards. Talmadge Stuckey moving the chains. After that, the Middleton quarterback, and a nice little pump fake here. Looking left, rolling back to the right, and then he finds his go-to guy, Tyler Medeiros, just wide open in the end zone. Man, Middleton has had a couple of heartbreaking losses the last 2 weeks. Tonight, not so much. They win 42-20. Moving along, how about Nampa Christian hosting Coal Valley Christian? Kick it off here. First drive. Nampa Christian quarterback Landon Cheney to Caleb Johnson for a 10-yard strike. Cheney then would then come out and convert the two-point conversion to his buddy, and it's 8-0 early on, Nampa Christian. Coach loving it. Now we get to see Shea McClellan's offense in action. Hey, good call here, Shea. That's what I'm talking about. Carter Fortin here completes the pass to Jaden Walter, and Walter gets busy after the catch. 35 yards later, he finds himself in the end zone celebrating with his buddies. They didn't get the two-point conversion, but we go now to the second. Coal Valley Christian getting into the end zone again. It's a scramble from Carter Fortin, and that made it 12-8, but it's Nampa Christian that rallies back. They get bragging rights in this rivalry, 30-20 the final. Up next now, Horseshoe Bend and Council. You know, quietly, maybe the game of the night. Horseshoe Bend entered this one undefeated. Council only had one loss. We pick it up here, and how about Kalen Jones looking like Derrick Henry, just running over people, bully ball. Derek Larson then takes it in for a touchdown here to give the Mustangs a 6-0 lead. Horseshoe Bend fans trying to rally the troops. Hey, we got to preserve this undefeated season. Back the other way. Trinity Hoxie with a long run for the Lumberjacks. He gets pushed out of bounds right before crossing the goal line. Josh Gripe would pick it up from there and toss this one to Mason Glenn to tie the game. Horseshoe Bend answers back with a touchdown. And guess what? They keep their perfect season alive. They win a squeaker against Council, 38-36. So the playoff picture is now set. Considering we just got back from our games, we'll get it all figured out and get that to you at KTVB.com. In the meantime, though, you know, high school football wasn't the only thing going on. How about Friday night football? Yes, the 5A boys and girls state soccer tournament continuing today. I hope you brought your rain gear if you came out to soccer today. 40-mile-an-hour gusts, rain. Thank God we had good soccer to watch. That was Zane Davis that almost heads one home. Miles Cromar makes a beautiful save. At the 20-minute mark, the Wolves are on the attack again. Zach Taylor tries to cross, but it's Ryder Stevenson that shuts down the attack with the deflection. This might have been T-Line's best scoring opportunity in the first half, but as you can see, Aiden can't just kind of angle that one home. He has to settle for a scoreless game. Eventually this goes to overtime, and eventually it would go to a shootout where T-Line survives 5-3 in a shootout. They will play Boise for the 5A state title game tomorrow in a rematch of the district title game. The Brave got bragging rights in that one. Let's get on over to Rocky. Yep, still raining over there in the girls 5A state soccer tournament. This is the semifinal featuring Rocky and Boise with about 10 minutes left in the first half. Avery Howell strikes one from deep. It deflects off the keeper, then off the post. Senior Logan Smith in the perfect spot there. The future Stanford Cardinal finds the back of the net to make it 1-0. Moments later, the Brave would try to add to their advantage, but Ellie Stahl makes a great save. Boise peppered the net peppered the keeper 6 times. She made 6 saves in the first half. Eventually, we would need PKs to decide this one as well, and Rocky's run comes to an end. The Brave win 5-3 in a shootout. They will play tomorrow for the 5A state championship. Hey, we got some more scores to report from you and the schedule for that matter. At the 5A classification again, Boise versus Lake City at 2 o'clock tomorrow for the state title at Rocky Mountain. In the 5A boys, again, it's Timberline and Boise. That will happen at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Eagle High School. At the 4A classification, Vallivue will battle Twin Falls at 4:30 over at Brothers Fields in Caldwell. Should be a great match. And we continue. The 4A boys, Bishop Kelly marches on. They will face Sandpoint at 7 o'clock over at Brothers. And the 3A state championship, Fruitland will battle Sun Valley at 10 o'clock over at Valley View. And at that same location, just a couple of hours later, McCall Donley and Sugar Salem will meet for the 3A boys state championship. I got to say, what an incredible run by Rocky Mountain. They made it this far without losing to a team from the state of Idaho. They had won 19 straight games, a really impressive run this season, but they lose to a really talented Boise girls team that seems to make it this far almost each and every season. We'll have those highlights for you tomorrow. It has been a fun season here on Friday Night Football. There are so many people that make this show happen. If we have enough teams marching on, maybe we do this again next week. We'll figure that out. We'll pass on the good word, and we'll let you know. In the meantime, I got to let you know that you got to get on over to KTVB.com, and if you missed any action tonight, if you're watching live, just toggle back. It's that simple. The bar, the time bar down below at the bottom of the screen, just toggle back. It's that simple. If not, though, we will post all of these highlights from tonight, including our soccer highlights, at KTVB.com. Again, for everybody that makes this show happen, greatly appreciative. We will see you next time here on Friday Night Football. Stay warm and enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone.